Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition D&D actual play show set in the Eberron campaign setting. It is Friday, and so we have a Khyber Shards Answers, and we are joined by Colin and
It's
his
me.
familiar, because Colin
This is
a wizard in real life.
this is Kratos. You'll see his face. I don't think we've had him on the
I
show
don't think
yet.
he's actually appeared. Yeah, I don't think he's gotten up on you.
Welcome to YouTube, bud.
Yeah.
So, he's more interested in headphones, much like his dad. I get that.
Hey, buddy.
How goes, brother? You feeling better? We getting there?
We're getting there. Again, you are stuck recording after we recorded.
It's always. It's
an
always
episode or a session. I guess that's true. When I have you on KSA, it is usually after we record a session.
Yep. But another one where maybe less dramatically this time, but we had some big
dramatic,
things happen.
but not small. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So yes, we got our next couple sessions in play.
Remember where I am in the character headspace for this moment.
Y'all are about to head down the stairs and find out who those mysterious people at the bottom of the stairs are.
Oh yeah, I'm out there just showing the world how cool my PJs are.
Yes, you are out there in your leopard print PJs.
Yeah, I can't help it. That was in my mind because I've been listening to Jack Harlow recently, and so
that was amazing. That was so funny. I loved it. And so
Very
did
happy with that
so
choice.
did the watch party. The watch party was very happy.
Hey, thanks, guys.
So, yeah,
I think it's fitting.
No complaints from our fans.
I'm just happy with how generous HeroForge was with my proportions and that. Like, man, I've wished I was Pog before, but he's got a dump truck.
Yes, indeed. Old HeroForge does not do the older HeroForge items don't do well with no shirt.
Neither do I IRL, to be honest. Though, so that's fine. Like,
yeah, that's true. I'm not a no shirt kind of guy.
Those days. You have that infamous picture of me back in the last era of my being the no shirt guy.
Oh man,
we don't need to get into that now, though.
That's true. We don't have to. We do have a couple of questions for Paul.
Huzzah.
The first, Emily would like to know what Pip's theory is about the weird pointy construct lying on the floor of Thora's office.
I'm going to be honest. I feel like Pip is the one who's hearing other people's conjecture on what it may be. I got you, buddy. We can do this. And is amplifying those. Like, do you think it's with fire? Yeah, it's probably like a flame throwing thing, and it shoots flames for 100 feet. Or maybe it's a teleporter of some kind. He's not going to be the one whose imagination does the initiation, but he's definitely amplifying everything that's theorized around him. So
awesome.
That's the way I think Pip works creatively. He's got the trait that I dislike the most, which is the one-upsmanship.
Oh yeah.
Like my participation in a conversation is I know that happened to you, but this was real bad. In fact, I kind of did that to you in our conversation earlier. And we know people with that personality trait.
Yeah.
So sorry if that's what I did to you earlier. Boy, this is a real moment of self-reflection here.
That was commiseration. That was
fair enough. If he were pressed, then it's absolutely a torture droid, like from Star Wars. It's an interrogation torture machine. Because that would be like the worst thing that it could be. And I think that's where his imagination would go, is to the worst case.
Worst case scenario, yeah.
There's not much worse than a torture bot, if we're honest.
That's true. That thing in Star Wars really alarmed me as a little kid.
I don't know if anything scared me that and Pennywise are honestly the same level for 7-year-old Colin. Unironically. I struggled with that thing.
I simply avoided that one.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
All right. Emily asks another one. Colin, if
Hi.
Pog had to prove to his loved ones that he really was himself, maybe after he got reincarnated into a gnome or a changeling tried to replace him or something, what would he say or do to prove his identity? So if Pog gets into a which one do we shoot situation, what does Pog do?
This is a great question, and I think I have a frustratingly good answer. Like, I call Minnie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
If someone else, because this would work for any of them, but if a changeling is impersonating me, they can't call Minnie. And so I would ask them in front of the rest of the strike force, well, what's the name of your friend that only you can bring out?
Mm-hmm,
and if they know, they won't know its name and they won't be able to bring them up. So Minnie is how that would happen. Absolutely. Initially, I was like, I'll set something on fire, or I'll make my mark glow, or I'll say something cute to Solarka. But Minnie's the answer.
Yeah, Minnie is pretty foolproof. That's very good.
It's a frustratingly good answer. So I'm sorry, Emily, because I feel bad for for the efficiency of my answer on that one, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah. Mia asks, do you think Pog will have to deal with the falling out of not going with Dane initially? I'm wondering if that's going to have an effect on him in light of recent events.
I don't want to be pediatric here, but aren't we already in the fallout of not going with Dane? We were attacked by one of the machines he warned us of in our city. And before I get to the second part of your question, Pog wanted to go.
Right.
Pog told the strike force he wanted to go. This, and in our old KSAs, we discussed this. This is the era of Pog being done, being a blasé about things and finding his voice. And he used it incorrectly. And I knew that in the moment with the Dane conversation. But that was also frustration of his relationship with his friends because they were wrong. Because Dane was right. Dane was just a dick about it. And that's what was frustrating, is like, you should have made your point better, because we should be doing what you're doing. So yeah, I think we're dealing with the fallout of that currently. And I promise that's not trying to be a smart aleck at all. Like that's my genuine answer. And if that's going to have an effect on him, I have tried very hard to fight the Colin in me with the told you so when it comes to Pog, because he has, but he also dearly loves the people he loves. And so it doesn't feel right for the character that he's become to say the things that Colin knows would feel really good to say.
Right.
But the place we find ourselves in now, and what we have ahead of us that needs doing, kind of just cements Pog's stance of, we keep putting off things that we deeply know are inevitable.
Yeah.
And that makes it worse for everyone. And I think that, I hope there's not a moment where it comes about, but I think that there won't be another moment of politely agreeing Pog when he has his conviction. We've spoken before about that Pog was very close to moving out of the manor. And this kind of cementing in his mind of his convictions have been valid, and we should be taking action.
Yeah.
It's really just going to be locked in. It's very hard. Pug is obviously not the face of this campaign, but it's very hard to not feel some of the Cyclops in our X-Men story here of, hey man, what he's saying is like not wrong.
Right.
We could do things differently, but he's more on the right track. And that's where I find I'm also having to very hard fight against knowing what I do after tonight. And the places that Pog went to tonight. But yeah, I think that's going to be how it has an effect. There are things that should have been done before that have hurt people because we debated the morality for too long.
Yeah.
And Pog is a means to an end kind of guy.
Yeah.
And you have not led us down a story that has weakened that conviction for him.
Okay. Mia has a follow-up question. Why is Pog being such a nudge to Tommel?
What you mean?
I assume we're talking about putting Minnie in the room to make Tommel afraid, knocking on the door at random point. What's going on there, buddy? This is co-signed by Laura.
Oh, no. That's unsurprising.
Right.
Listen, we just talked about how inaction has led to negative consequences. Tommel should have been dead a long time ago. Maybe I will retract the dead, but Tommel should have been dealt with a long time ago. And our failure to do so has hurt the world. And it's killed Ari. And it's almost killed Shade. And I don't know if you would have played Tommel any differently if he had been brought back looking differently than he was before. But for him to face essentially zero consequences, because he just wakes back up and he's him. He doesn't deserve that. And the conversation that he and Ari had, and I mean, Pog was there, but that it was mostly the two of them discussing philosophies. It is very dangerous that Tommel feel as comfortable as he was. Tommel is alive and therefore a danger. And it is important that, and it was jokingly said in the cold open of the last episode about Pug being the tank. So if he did his job better, the others wouldn't have gone down. But that is the way a tank thinks. And Tommel needs to know that there is at least one person that actively does not want him still living. And he needs to be reminded that it's possibly the person most capable of making that happen.
Yeah.
Because all he has ever done since his return into our lives is threaten in one form or another safety, our city, the world as we know it, and the lives of ourselves and the charges we've given ourselves to protect. And Pog was prepared to kill him after the interrogation. I'll set him on fire. I'll throw my axe into his chest, drop him down the hole, fireball, and I'll bring my axe back to me tomorrow. Like, leave him at the bottom of whatever pit. Because he has only deepened in his convictions of threatening us and everything that we love and stand for. This isn't Dane with a difference of approach and some severe, but some misalignments along the way. This is literally against everything that we are, and everything that we have believed as a group. So it's important to Pog that he know that he's alive, but he's not safe. He's not forgiven. And his actions are not forgotten. And it wasn't just a mechanical thing to send Minnie in there after the interrogation. I also like the idea of letting him know that an eternal being associated with the silver flame knows who he is and what he's about. So I might not be able to kill you now, but I'm going to be forever. And you're on the side of wrong, and I will always be on the side of what I believe is right. So I'll get you. And that was what was impactful for me, was not the mechanics of having a ghost pop up, but like, hey, something bigger than you and something that exists on a level that not even your boss does knows you. We see you.
Nice.
And we won't let you. So I don't know if that's being a nudge, but if it is, I stand by it.
Awesome. Oh, that tracks.
Would you say that you obviously do a wonderful job in your portrayal of NPCs, of expressing their conviction. But I don't want to say Tommel's a non-issue, but now that his initial existence has been dealt with, did you intend for him to be sympathetic? I mean, he makes his own kind of sense.
Right.
But in contrast to Dane, which is clearly a side that you can see a full validity to, was there a part of your storytelling where you were like, I think I'm going to get some of the Strike Force to like reconsider, come over? Or was he always intended to be the extreme antithesis of us? Or am I misinterpreting?
No. What is it? So Dane and Thora the Dane and Thora contrast is the conversation between Heath Ledger Joker and Batman in The Dark Knight. You're one bad day away from being me. Like Thora is, from Dane's perspective, one bad day away from being Dane. Which raises the question about this very bad day that Thora is having.
I'm so scared about that.
And what she's up to. You're not alone based on some of the comments I've been seeing.
I'm so scared about that.
Tommel has gone to the far extreme of things. I would argue that Tommel is still a difference of method, but so we kind of had some debates about there were some debates in the comments back when Dane visited the mansion before, and you had the argument that the Strike Force, particularly Ari, were being unfair in the way that they related Dane's argument. Ari, I think, suggested that Dane was looking to commit genocide and kill all the true marked people. To which Eric, of course, replied, "What? A 20-year-old not holding to the nuances of the argument?" and fair play. That is what Tommel is about.
Right.
Like Tommel is the strong inherit the earth. The aberrants are the next step in evolution. And everyone else is Neanderthal. And so anyone not aberrant or not exceptional will eventually go by the wayside one way or another. And so that's kind of that is Tommel's thinking. Is Coolseer is going to craft this world where aberrants are safe because aberrants have the power. Aberrants are the ones in power, and that way they can never have the terms of their existence dictated to them again. Put that way, aberrants need to control the terms of their existence so that the terms of their existence can't be dictated to them. It sounds sort of kind of reasonable, and there's a logic to it. It is just the difference of method is so extreme. No, I never really thought the strike force were going to say, wow, Tommel's got a really great point. Let's join Coolseer. That would be wild. And would have obviously been a very different trajectory for this campaign. I was prepared to make myself prepared for the possibility that they leave the school and go with Dane. But no, it's never really occurred to me that Tommel was going to win you all over to his perspective. People have asked about Tommel's, when is Tommel's redemption arc beginning? Tommel, you can't have a redemption arc until Tommel thinks he's done something wrong.
Right.
And Tommel is probably different from Dane beyond the lines that he's willing to cross. Tommel is probably different from Dane in that if Dane did something dreadful to save aberrant lives, if Dane was put in a position Dane was put in a trolley problem position of doing something horrible in order to save aberrants, he would probably do it, but it would be an ethical question for him. It would be maybe even I did this and it was terrible and I regret it, but at the same time, I'm glad I did it. That dimension isn't present in Tommel's thinking. We haven't necessarily seen him do it, but I think Dane is willing to, and has expressed willingness to take lives to save aberrants. Tommel kind of sees that as the way to save aberrants. Is aberrants have to be on top, and anyone who resists gets crushed.
And correct me if I'm wrong in this, but to my oversimplifying mind, it feels as though Dane has a belief that there is such an existence as innocence. Like he would absolutely take the lives of people that he thought deserving.
Sure.
But Tommel is prepared to be like, oh, hey, you didn't kneel to Coolseer, so you're dead. Like it
potentially, yeah.
Not take up arms against, but like, hey, you did not jump to our way.
Okay, here I think this is a good way to express the difference between Dane and Tommel. Dane would see a lot of the things that he might do as necessary evils. Tommel wouldn't include the word evil.
That distinction is kind of gross and very evocative.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that would be how I would describe the difference between them, I think, best. So.
That's why Pog is being a nudge.
And that is the last of our questions. So thank you all so much for these questions. It's always fun to get to dive into characters here. We will hopefully have another KSA with another player next Friday. In the meantime, though, if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can do so at links in the description below. You can see more of Colin on twitch.tv/sorrybtr. The O is a 0. You can hear me and Colin talking other things on the I Never Got Into That podcast, wherever fine podcasts are digitized.
Also ours. Just kidding. I'm very proud of our podcast. I think we do very well.
It's good.
I listened to it multiple times because I edit it.
True. In any case, new episodes of Khyber Shards drop on Mondays, new Khyber Shards answers on Fridays. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.